We are live in Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play alongside Jerem Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton. We've moved over to the Cougar Council room to appropriately welcome back.
Council one with another.
Chris Burgess, BYU basketball assistant coach.
What's up, guys? This is a great council room.
It's a little different than
much different.
We renovated the studio basically for you.
But it's great to be back.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's go ahead and just get into what your life has been like in the last week. How would you sum up the last week of your life?
It moved really quick. A lot of secrecy in terms of just trying to think about a decision and understand both sides. But it's been a whirlwind. Head's been spinning. A lot of anxiety. Change is always hard, no matter what the change is. It's always difficult. But at the same time, it's been very overwhelming with just the reception and like the open arms that Cougar Nation has kind of shown towards me, my family, and so that's very humbling and just gets you even more excited to be back at such a special place. People
don't think about the logistics for you, but you haven't had to move from Utah Valley, BYU, and Utah, right? Like you just here.
I've changed homes, but like I've been in Utah County the whole time. When you have a big family and they're involved with school and friends and different athletic teams, you especially in youth sports, if you find a coach that's really, really good, whether volleyball, basketball, baseball, like you don't want to change coaches, right? Because it's so important for, you know, as a father, right, their development. So I've been really fortunate. I've been coaching 9 years now and have not had to leave the county.
That's amazing. And let's talk about your kids because you have an amazing family. Yeah. So KJ plays volleyball at Oklahoma. And then Zoe signed at Kansas.
Yep, and she's there now.
She's there now. I saw a little mic'd up segment.
Yep.
That was on Twitter last week. And then you have a couple of sons who play, and Jackson Emery and we learned TJ Hawes are their coaches.
Yeah, so KJ's Oklahoma, Zoe's Kansas. She's a class of 2024 high school, 4-year state champ. Was Miss Volleyball at Lone Peak.
Big time at Lone Peak.
But she graduated early so she could get going here in the spring.
And BYU at Kansas this year, by the way.
Yep, BYU, and they're not coming. They're not coming here.
They did last year. They did last year, yeah.
And then I have Ava, who was a freshman at Lone Peak. She's my 15-year-old, and she would argue that she's going to be the better of the three. But she's just a freshman. She started on varsity last year as state champ. And I got two little boys. Jackson Emery coaches my 12-year-old, and then TJ Hawes coaches my 11-year-old. So
that's awesome.
Both are unbelievable coaches, just great and great human beings.
How does your family feel about the back and forth? Like, are they ready to rep the Y and rep blue again?
Like, so I have video, and it would have been a great B-roll for them. When we told them, my wife and I told them we were leaving, and my boys didn't talk to me for like a week. And so you take them up to you put them in the bookstore and try to like just rip, get people. When I told them, and so my daughter, who's a 15-year-old, found out on Instagram, so she sent it to my wife. We hadn't told him yet. So she got
it. She found out.
Yeah, so she sent me like, what? Exclamation. And then I was like, so we like kind of pulled over because Beckham was with us. And we're like, Beckham's going to find out because we're going to play a basketball game with Jackson.
Yes. Beckham's one of your sons.
Beckham's my 12-year-old. So we told him.
So you have a soccer name for a basketball player.
Yeah, Beckham, right? And so we told them, and obviously they're such good people up there, and they made really good friends. But they're so excited to. They're like, we have to go to the bookstore. We have to go on a couple different websites. They wanted to rock their blue, especially when you live in Utah County.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're excited to they're excited to be back. Like they're all in.
Wow, Chris Burgess is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Kate, you said it was so fast, understandably emotional, and a whirlwind. When did the job officially fall onto your plate as an offer?
An offer, yeah. Wednesday.
That's just crazy to me.
Well, no, it's not true. Tuesday, and then I accepted on Wednesday. I'm a sleep on it guy.
Yeah. Well, you need to, right? What went into this decision? Yeah. Because certainly your name was brought up for the head coaching job here. Yeah. And
to your credit, I mean, yeah.
And you made what a quote unquote lateral move. Yet you wanted to come back to BYU and leave the alma mater in a place that you really like as well. Yet you've been here. Yeah. So what went into this decision?
My 3 years here with Coach Pope and staff and that team were some of my fondest memories and just an amazing time. And what BYU and the mission stands for is something that resonates in my life, right? And it's something I love being a part of. And I absolutely could not have enjoyed my time up in Salt Lake the last 2 years more in terms of growing as a coach. The opportunity, I went to a coach's clinic, and I was involved with it, going on player development for bigs, and Kevin Young was talking about offensive stuff when he was with the 76ers at the time, and I was blown away by his presentation. So
when was this?
This would have been 2019.
Yeah.
it was here at the Annex. So it was all this like Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints coaches clinic. So like Danny was there, and Coach Hunsaker from Utah Valley was, anyway, so I was blown away by it. And I kind of had stayed in touch with them, just texts, And so when he had got the job, and then kind of reached out, the idea of, I've always thought about like, where am I going to continue to grow as a coach? And like, we always talk about our players, you need to get better, you need to get better. Well, I have the same mentality as a coach. Like, I just want to continue to grow and learn. And so the opportunity to learn from Kevin and his background, like he's in every NBA draft room or every NBA draft workout, like what better way to learn, like in terms of player development, right? Offensively, he's one of the top, assistant coaches in all of NBA. What better person to learn from? So it was really exciting to learn from him and grow from him. That got me super excited. And then some of the players, right, in the locker room that I've had some impact on their life, whether I recruited them, whether I got to coach them, and that got me fired up, right, to come back and kind of be around them and coach them and have more impact on their lives. So it's a number of things, right? And it's difficult, and like you kind of get choked up about it because change is always really, really hard. But when you're welcomed with the open arms that like I've received, like I'm just telling you, like I kind of get goosebumps just thinking about being here again.
Chris Burgess, once again, BYU men's basketball assistant coach, is with us on BYU Sports Nation. What was that initial call like with Kevin Young when he started to recruit you back as an assistant? Yeah,
so it was kind of just talking like basketball talk, discussions. Not necessarily like an interview. It was more just like guys talking basketball, like chalk talk or philosophy. So it's like I'm learning from him, and then like I'm the college guy, right? And I kind of felt like it was kind of this two-way interview type discussion. And we just hit it off. We really connected. I loved his vision. I love the NBA, right? And I love the way he kind of was talking about the structure of his staff. And even though it's not NBA guys, it was an NBA structure.
Yeah.
And I love that, right? Like chief of staff and, analytical.
Like a GM.
It was awesome, right? Yeah. So I love that part of it. But we really connected. We really vibed. We did get to sit down with each other once, but it was mostly over the phone. And I just knew there was a connection right away. And I think he understood that, like, I know this place as well, and I understand, like, coming to college basketball is one thing, but coming to BYU is very unique, right? And you have to understand that. And I think he does, and then I know he believed that I knew it because I've been in it, right? And so we connected on a high level.
You represent an important piece of the staff. One, like you said, that you connected to literally, Trevin, Foosh, Trey, and some other, right? That group, they know you. Yeah. You know them. You can connect the new coaching staff with those guys in terms of that. And yes, you've been gone for 2 years, but you played against BYU and you're here locally. Yeah. But also your connection in recruiting locally. You are known as one of the best, not the best recruiter locally. What does that mean to BYU in this piece of LDS kids and local kids and your connection with them?
Yeah. I think it's super important. I think you gotta dominate the state. You gotta own the state. You almost gotta build a.
And the ball's really good here.
Yeah,
in Utah.
It's getting better.
Yeah,
and it's getting better and better every year. But you gotta own the state. You gotta dominate the state. You gotta dominate the members of our church. You just gotta get them here. You gotta get them excited, and you got to, because this place has so much to offer, right? And so that is huge, because that's the core of what BYU is. That's the core of what BYU mission is, and those kids who serve missions truly understand sacrifice for the greater good of a team. Like, you can say that, but they truly understand sacrifice, right? And with the transfer portal and with NIL, there's so much of the back of the jersey as opposed to the front of the jersey. Meaning, like when I went to Duke, like no one was bigger than Duke. Zion Williamson, Jason Tatum, Elton, you weren't bigger than Duke. And so you bought into the front of your jersey. Well, how many kids are in the transfer portal from Duke? 5 or 6? So it's no longer, but I truly believe at BYU, you get the core kids, they understand this, and they want to be a part of that, and they represent that. You got Dallin and Richie both came back, right? You got Trevin's not going anywhere. Dawson's not going anywhere. Like, they want to be a part of this, and there is, in this changing landscape, you have BYU that I think can be different if you do it the right way and build around that core. And then go find your Jackson Robinsons, your Alex Barcelos, your Keena Youngs. Find those guys, right? And you can do that at a high level here. I believe that.
Good name drop on Keenan Youngblood.
Yeah. Well, certainly BYU is on the hunt still in the portal.
Of course.
Specifically for some guys that you may know a thing or two about working with, the bigs.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's Foose. And Foose loves BYU. We love Foose. We think he's an unbelievable talent and a unique matchup problem, but he needs some help.
Yeah.
So where do we stand in trying to bolster the depth in the front court?
We're in a good spot. Talking to a bunch of kids, trying to get them on campus. But we need another, obviously, bolster it. We need, rim running 5. We can rim protect, rebound, throw it to down there on the block, pocket pass off the screen and roll, and be able to make the reads, right? Whether the 5-out delay, kind of like Ollie did last year, right? Make the reads off of handoffs, down screens, make the reads off of screen and roll, pocket pass. And so we're in the hunt with a couple guys, but that is something that's circled and something we're working on every single day to get them here.
It's going to be exciting next year. Obviously, the 4 corners come in, including Utah. What's the dynamic going to be like in the league of now Arizona's in here, Colorado's got a very good program. And obviously you're staring at the Kansas and Baylor continues to get better, and Houston.
Yeah, so especially being in the Pac-12 the last 2 years and, kind of watching the Big 12 or the Big East and things like that from afar, I think the one thing that Big 12 stands out, of course there's really good basketball. It's awesome. But I think the one thing that stands out is their fan bases are electric. Everywhere you go, it's sold out, they care, they, camp overnight, right? And that is the difference in the fan base. So you add Arizona and Colorado, they probably were the 2 top fan bases. Every day is sold out and in the conference the last 4 or 5 years. And so I think you're adding those 2 teams that understand and are passionate about basketball. Their fans are, right? And then you bring in the rivalry, which is great, right? And I think it's going to help bolster. I think it's just going to help the conference, right? You're going to have these rivals, and then I think the world of Bobby Hurley is kind of a personal hero of mine when I was a little kid, and I think his teams play extremely hard. They get after it, and so you bring ASU, and I just think it's gonna make them better and their fan base come back alive, right? I just think it's gonna really help. I'm excited, right? I'm super excited to be a part of this conference. Obviously, we didn't have 2 years when we were at Utah. We found out almost a year ago, so we're kind of keeping an eye on. We played Houston, we played BYU, so we had a sense of 2 different programs in the Big 12, and we were kind of keeping an eye on it. So even though this will be our first year, I feel like I've been watching it the last 3 years because we were preparing for it 3 years ago when we found out, and then I left and then preparing for last year. So I'm excited, but I will just say that the fan bases are so passionate, and it's the essence of college basketball.
BYU men's basketball assistant coach Chris Burgess is with us in Studio B. When you think about what BYU is going to look like and what style of play there will be, what comes to mind? What's the vision that you want to paint for fans with Kevin Young and yourself and Brandon Dunson on staff?
Yeah, so we want to play fast. We want to play in transition for sure. You're in the altitude. You want to take advantage of that. I thought that's something that's super important. We'll play some 5-out stuff, screen and roll. We want to space it with shooting. I think that is something that we want to have. Got to have shooters around you. Probably some more screen and roll stuff, and then from screen and roll, you can play out of it, right? Whether it's a pocket pass to kick out 3, a throwback to punch it inside for a post up. So, but we want to play fast. We want to play 5-out. We want to space the court. And I know it sounds super generic, but that's what we want to do.
Sounds a lot like kind of what BYU was doing last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Which fans loved, and it was fun.
Yeah, and so that's. Even sitting with Coach Young and kind of watching as we're preparing for recruiting and just watching some style, how do they fit in style of play, you guys can be super excited.
And the ambition level is high, not only in BYU going and getting a guy like Kevin Young, but also, hey, let's hire a chief of staff, let's bring Chris, you over from Utah and so on. You've been offering 25 kids that some are 5-star, real high 4 stars. And obviously you're working in the portal. Can you speak to the ambition level and the urgency with, hey, we got to get this year's team, but we got to build this thing and let's get going?
Yeah, I think we're trying to build off the momentum that BYU basketball has right now in the athletics and the fan base and the resources, and so getting out ahead early on some of these kids outside of the state, outside of the members, the right ones, and just getting out there, getting our name out, getting our brand, and getting them excited. That's big. It gets the fans excited. It gets us excited. Plus, these are players that we, myself and Brandon, really feel like they're going to be absolute home runs for us, right? And so we're just trying to build off the momentum and the excitement that Coach Rose had, Coach Pope had, and we're just trying to continue to build off that.
Did you know Brandon Dunson a little bit, given that he was at Stanford?
Yeah. Everyone speaks super highly of him. Ran into him. Obviously, we play him twice every year. And now really getting to know him, and there's a reason why his trajectory is an up-and-coming coach and continuing to move up the ranks is because he's really good at what he does.
Did you get the office you wanted, Chris?
We're about to find out.
You shot for it last time, which is really fun.
I shot for it. So this is what I came in last week. So 5 years ago, I shot against Cody Fieger because Nick wasn't around, Bobby wasn't around. I won. So Cody may be in bluegrass, but he still is 0-1 in the shooting contest with me. So last week, no one was in the office because everyone, right? And I was like, well, what if I just shoot by myself? I just got to make 3 out of like 10. Is that good, right? And so I haven't got my office yet, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm just glad to be in those offices.
Just like put your backpack in there. Like,
it's in there. It's in there. It's in there.
Great to have you back in studio, B. Chris. This is the Burgess Lounge today, Jerome.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, it is.
I love
Thanks
it.
for coming back.
There's no thing for me to sign. I remember some years ago, I got to sign it, but it's so good to be back.